And right now, I like to introduce to some and reintroduce to some because the next gentleman, he was one of our moderators, and we had an opportunity to watch him do the great things that he did as a moderator. But now we want to bring him back as one of our speakers, and that gentleman's name is Billy Graham Jr. And of course, his topic is defending your story, and his company is Committed Development. Billy Graham Jr. is the CEO of Committed Development. He's a global speaker, retired Air Force general. Retired Air Force veteran. After serving 20 years in the military, he is now focused on developing leaders and teams. Billy coaches with transparency and conviction by allowing others, not only to see into his life, but to reflect on their own lives as well. He challenges others to demand more from themselves, to hold themselves to higher standards. His teachings will help you unlock the gift within. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you none other. I call him the smooth CEO. I want to give to everybody Billy Graham Jr.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Dr. Kelly.
Well, we want to thank you, Billy. You did take the time out and do some extra moderating for us. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have had an opportunity to see the great work that you do. But right now you get an opportunity to dig a little bit deeper, to get a little bit in the weeds, to begin to open up the minds of people who are looking at what they need to do to create a better vision of their lives. And as I always say, genius is coming, and I'll see you on the other side.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you again, Dr. Kelly. Also, would like to thank your mother for you two providing this platform, Black Business Expo. Thank you for all of you that are working behind the scenes tirelessly to get this going. This is just amazing because we get to actually watch you live your purpose. You and your mother and the whole team, you're living your purpose. If you've been watching the Black Business Expo this whole time and watching the speakers, the moderators from everywhere, we are getting the opportunity to live inside of the story of Dr. Eric Kelly and his mother and the legacy that they're leaving behind. There's very rare that you actually get an opportunity to live inside of somebody's story and know that you're living it at the time, watching their greatness. So again, I thank you, thank you, thank you. But when we're talking about living in their story, it makes me wonder, do you know your story? Well, first, you might need to know what a story is. And according to the dictionary, a story is basically the account of events, whether they're real or imaginary, that evolve over time to explain what something or someone is going through. Like for me, an example, I thought for years I was telling my story. Played basketball all through middle school, high school, even went to college and was on scholarship playing basketball. But then on some bad judgment, misguided thinking on my behalf, I was kicked out of school. And I was like, man, is this how my story ends? And the only reason I asked if this is how my story ends, you have to go back to me to 8th grade. I was in theater arts. I was theater arts 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, but 8th grade was the one that stood out the most. My teacher told me something. Now in the beginning, she told me, oh, you're an amazing actor. You're doing great. I thought I was. My family thought I was. I had the awards to show for it. First place everywhere. Like there was no losing. I thought I was the best actor in Houston, Texas. Couldn't tell me otherwise. But I wanted to focus on sports. And my teacher told me, she said, you'll be a great actor when you figure out how to tell your story. I was confused because I'm like, when I tell my story, I'm like, I'm doing great. I remember all the lessons you taught me about a story, the 5 W's, the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, the why. I was like, I got this. But she said that, and I was like, wow. So when I got kicked out of college, I reflected back to 8th grade. I was like, who is this story about? What happened in the story? When did this story take place? Where did the story take place? And why did it happen? And then the light bulb went off. Maybe she missed the how, the when, the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how. I was missing the how. How did it happen? I was like, well, I don't know how it happened. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. So I joined the military. Did 20 years. And like many people, I was just going through the mundane of going to work, going home, going to work, going home. Thought that's what I was supposed to do. It wasn't until years later, I mean years, that I finally understood what she meant. That I will live in my purpose and understand my life when I understood how to tell my story. See, I was looking at it all wrong. I was like, who is it about? What happened? When did it take place? Where did it take place? Why did it happen? How? When I should have been asking, who are you? What is your purpose? When are you going to start this purpose? Where do you even begin with this purpose? Why do you think you need to do this purpose? As a matter of fact, how does it end? And it stayed in my mind. How does it end? It didn't end in high school. It didn't end in college. My military career was going well, and I'm like, does it end with my career? Then it dawned on me. I wasn't telling my story right. I was telling the story that others told me to tell. I wasn't living in my purpose. I wasn't using the gifts that God gave me. I thought the light bulb went off. When I started thinking like that, not only did the light bulb go off, the world opened up with endless possibilities. You've heard them, you've seen them, you've been listening to them on the Black Business Expo. You have family members. Many of us, we have social media. We see people living what we consider the dream. And we say, we want to live like that. We want to be that person. But we're missing one thing. That person is living in their purpose. They're living their story. So it makes me pose those same questions that my teacher told me about my story to you. When are you going to start living in your purpose? When are you going to start telling your story? When are you going to explain your 5 W's? The who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how. See, in order to live in your purpose and tell your purpose and use your gift, you must first understand the 5 W's. I could go into it real fast, but I don't want to lose you because I don't want you to lose all those years that I lost, not knowing, because my teacher didn't explain it. So I'm going to break it down to you and explain it to you. Because why? I want to help you define your story so you can live in your purpose using the gifts that God gave you. So for that begin, we first got to ask you, who are you? I'll give you a second to think about it. If you're like me, you didn't know who you were. I've been trying to figure out who I wanted to be the whole time. I've been trying to be an adult for a long time. It took me forever to figure out who I am, but I want to know, who are you? When I say that, I don't mean the people you watch on social media, the people you watch on TV. Everybody wants to be the next LeBron James. Everybody wanted to be Michael Jordan, the next Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody wants to be Bill Gates. Everybody wants to be the next Elon Musk. But who are you? I don't mean the environment, not the environment you were raised in. We all come from different walks of life, different environments. That isn't what makes you, you. Think about a motivational speaker. As of right now, if you Google who's the #1 motivational speaker in the world, it's going to tell you Dr. Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher. But I'm pretty sure you've heard other motivational speakers that got you to move. Guess what? These motivational speakers were not all born in the same neighborhood with Eric Thomas. They're from all over. So your environment does not make you who you are. Not even your upbringing. Our parents, I love my mom and dad. They taught me everything they know. But as society and the world evolves, there's things that they didn't know to tell me because they hadn't happened yet. But the person that I was, who I am, And the lessons that they taught me prepared me. So all that, your upbringing, that just prepares you to operate in your purpose. But who are you? You can go ask somebody, hey, who are you? And they'll be like, I'm Dr. So-and-so. No, you're a doctor. That's your profession. Who are you? You're not a doctor. You're a healer. You want to heal people. You say, who are you? Oh, I'm the comedian. No, you're not a comedian. You're a person that brings joy. You use entertainment to find the joy inside of people. So again, I ask you, who are you? Not your job, not your environment, not your upbringing. The who you are is the person that when you walk around somebody or walk into a room, people come up to you. They see something inside of you that they need that you have to offer. Whether it be you like to feed people, you're a nurturer. So people like, oh, you cook so good. I love your food. You bring that joy to that person. Or if you walk in a room and people light up and smile, that's you. You're a joy to somebody. Or like a person that we said, motivational speaker. They're not just a motivational speaker. They are a messenger. They're passing a message along to you to help you get to the next level in your life. So when you look at who you are the person that's something that is so easy for others. So hard for others is easy for you. Think about that. If you do something effortlessly and everybody's looking like, wow, that's starting to bring out who you are. Just saying, who you are is what God has given you to give to the world. And don't get it wrong. Don't wrong. Everybody's not going to like who you are. When you find out who you are, I found out the hard way. Everybody won't like who you are. But I also realize that it's not my job and it's not your job to be likable. It's your job to be yourself. Don't worry about the other people because the right people will gravitate to you. So then you sit back and you're like, well, Billy, I know who I am, but I still don't understand my purpose. You don't understand your purpose? Let me help you. Your purpose is not what they tell you. See, over time, we have given our power to people, and it's time to take our power back. You no longer need to play their role. You need to be you. You can't live in your purpose and understand what your purpose is because you're trying to live somebody else's purpose. Many won't understand your purpose. It's not their job to understand the purpose. God gave you the gift to live in the purpose for yourself. As Dr. Eric Kelly always says, you have to learn to value your value, because if you don't value your value, then it's not valuable. God has given you a gift and you have a purpose, and it's time for you to start living in it. Take your power back. See, society has put us in the box. They start real early. When you're a kid, they say, what do you want to be? Kids yell out, basketball player. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a doctor. You're yelling all these amazing things out. Firefighters, ballerinas. But then as you progress throughout life, you get to school. So what are you going to college for? Oh, finance. What are you going to college for? Oh, business administration. You lost your purpose. You got put inside of a box. They tell you, think outside of the box. And it's like, well, you put me in this box. Now you're telling me to think outside of the box. Well, I'm here to tell you, God gave you a gift and there is no box. There's only one you. There is no carbon copy. There is no box. It's only one you. You can't put yourself in a box and be constrained to what society tells you should be. That's not what God gave you. God gave you a purpose. And think outside of the box, because you and you are the only one. So when you start thinking outside of the box, let me give you an example. When you hear the name Mark Zuckerberg, what do you think? Most people say Facebook. No. Mark Zuckerberg thought outside of the box. He wasn't even in the box. He created a box. He said, I want people on college campuses to talk and be able to talk to each other from different places. Then he said, no, not just college campuses. What about the city? Maybe the state. Maybe the continent. Matter of fact, I want people across the world to talk to each other. Mark Zuckerberg is not Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg is a connector. He connects people worldwide. When you think about Martin Luther King, it wasn't just the walk in Selma. It wasn't just marching to the Capitol. Martin Luther King wasn't just trying to change Alabama. He wasn't just trying to change the South. He wasn't just trying to connect the United States. He had a dream for all man and woman around the world. Martin Luther King was a creator and connector for change. You see where I'm going here? It's not about what you do. You have to get it. It's not you, it's the final product. The final product is you. You are the gift. You are the person that has to live in their purpose and be the gift that God wanted you to be for the world. Let me give you an example. There's a saying that says you can give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat forever. Well, God gave you a gift to not just teach you to eat forever. God gave you a gift that teaches you how to sell the fish so others can eat with you. He teaches you how to sell the fish so you can pass that knowledge down to the next generation. He teaches you how to sell the fish so that purpose can keep living on long after you're called home. But then you say, I know who I am. I think I understand what you're saying about a purpose, but when I start? I don't know when to start. Maybe I should start on New Year's. Maybe I should start on my birthday. Know what? I'll start when I get the next promotion. Maybe you're like me. I have this complex Mondays. I had to start stuff on Mondays. I don't know why. I just felt like I had to start on Monday. Maybe it's the beginning of the week. Society had me thinking you start school on Monday. After Sunday all day at church, my mom went to work the next day. After we're going through the whole weekend, Monday, my dad did all outside chores. Monday was just ingrained. I did everything on Monday. I'm going to go to the gym on Monday. Well, I know y'all can't see it right now, but I've missed the gym about 37 Mondays. So that when you start thing for me, it's not working, and most likely it's not working for you. Why do you think it's not working? I'm going to tell you why. There's no perfect time for it to start. We can take this pandemic that we just are going through right now. The world shut down. All we had was what? Essential workers. The same people that taught us to go be these people, be a doctor, be a lawyer, go be this person, go to college for this. The same individuals that put us in the box, they shut the world down and said, you're no longer essential. They basically put us all in quarantine. But I'm going to let you know right now, for some of us, and I know you're one of them, but I need you to keep spreading this word to others. You're not in quarantine. Your mind is. You don't know when to start because your mind is in quarantine because you're waiting on the perfect time to start. There is no perfect time. There's no perfect moment, no perfect hour. Guess what? If you think it's a perfect moment, I bet you a week or two from now, you'll look back as you have grown and say, man, now is the perfect moment. I thought you said 2 weeks ago was the perfect moment. There's no perfect moment. The only way to start something and start living inside of your purpose and start developing and telling and defining your story is to start now. There's no other time. You can't wait till tomorrow. It's not promised to you. And I have this belief that for you to say you're putting something off and procrastinating to God, procrastination to God is a slap in the face. That's saying that God owes you another day to start living in the purpose using the gift that he gave you. Man, that's so disrespectful. I'm just saying, you cannot wait for the perfect moment to start. And now that you understand that, you're probably saying, I got it. I'm starting today. I'm starting right after I get through listening to you. Matter of fact, I'm going to finish Black Business Expo and start something else again. But where do I begin? That's a question many of us ask. Where do I begin? You have this perfect idea. You got this perfect everything, but you don't know where to begin. Well, it's only one place to begin. I don't care how you look at it. Yourself, the person in the mirror. Michael Jackson didn't make that song about man in the mirror for a reason. You begin everything with you. Everything starts and ends with you. Matter of fact, you're the only person that matters at this particular moment. I'm not saying don't care about your loved ones, don't look out for family and friends, but when we're talking about defining your story, you are the main character. So it starts with you. You are your only competition. I know I said social media and we're looking at, oh, I want to be like this person. I'm going to follow in this person's footsteps. No. You are your only competition. So it begins with you. I'm just saying. It starts with you, only you. God gave the gift to you. He didn't give it to anybody else. When you start understanding that, you'll understand that it begins with you. And the reason I say that, because if you were like me, when I asked where to begin, I would get on my knees. I would pray, God, help me where I start, where I begin. Help me become successful. Help me be a better father, husband, a friend, mentor. Went straight to praying. That's the right thing to do. But it's one issue with just going straight to praying. God doesn't work like that. God wants action. See, we pray for an abundance of blessings. We want God to just bless us, bless us, bless us. You get blessings, you get blessings. Everybody gets blessed. That's what we want God to do. But he doesn't operate that. You cannot pray for an abundance of blessings when your actions are not in abundance. Let me say that again. I might have went over somebody's head. You cannot pray for an abundance of blessings when you're not acting in abundance. See, God didn't just give you the gift and say, here's your gift, you're blessed, go be successful. No, he gave you the gift. Then he gave you the inspiration to be creative and understand your gift. Then things like Black Business Expo, books, school, he gives you the knowledge to understand your gift. And then he gives you the motivation after you get the knowledge to start going after and living in your purpose with your gift. And then, and only after then, after he gives you the motivation, he provides you with the work ethic to use your gift, to live in your purpose, to attain the success that you've been looking for. So when it all boils down back to it, where do I begin? Begin with yourself. Because in order to have action, you must have a plan. See, you pray for the blessings. You want all this to happen. I told you about the gift, the creativity, the knowledge, the motivation, the work ethic. All that requires planning. You got the action down. Now you need the planning. Think about planning. You have a builder, build your home. Guess what he has? A blueprint. I played sports all throughout school. Guess what my coach had? A playbook. We all sat through class. I know I'm a little older. Back in the day, our teacher used to put the grades in the book. Now they're all electronic online, but guess what she had? A lesson plan. You notice I said plan, playbook, blueprint. There was no S on the end of none of that. I didn't say blueprints. I didn't say playbooks. I didn't say lesson plans. I said a plan, singular, blueprint, singular, playbook, singular. You know why? Because God gave you a gift and that's what you're supposed to achieve. He didn't tell you to go after all other gifts and everybody else's gifts. He wants you to use your plan, plan A. Plan A means you're moving ahead. When you start looking for other plans, the plan Bs, now you're going backwards. And don't get me started on the plan C. You got a plan C, you setting your life up for catastrophe. You don't want catastrophe, so throw out the plan C. We're not trying to go backwards, so throw out the plan B. Only ahead, plan A. That's where you begin with yourself. Understand that God wants you to work with action in order to receive the abundance, to live with success, and he wants you to focus on your plan A. So you're like, oh, I got the plan. I'm taking notes. If you're not taking notes, you're going to have to watch the replay and get these notes again because you need these nuggets. Because you need this in order to define your story, not somebody else's story. So you have all this, and then you ask yourself, I'm doing everything you're saying, but I don't have the motivation. I don't have the energy. I keep shutting down. I don't know what's wrong. Something's not happening. You're not connecting because you don't understand your why. See, for me, my why is my family. I wake up every day and I look in that mirror and I see 8 eyes looking back at me, not just my 2. I see my 2 and 8 others, my wife and her 2 eyes and my 3 boys and their 2 eyes apiece. I look in the mirror, it's 10 eyes looking at me. That's why I do what I do. Why do you do what you do? Is it family? Is it because you want to help others? Is it because you just want to be a better person for yourself? Is it because you realize that in order for people to walk into your footsteps, you have to first take the first step? No matter what it is, it's your why. Look, I'm on here talking to you right now. It's not just my family. Remember, I told you it doesn't have to just be one. You're also my why. I'm on here now because you're my why, because I want to help you be the best person you can be, living in your gift, operating in the purpose that God designed you for. Now, when you're doing this, you're going to also realize that some people aren't for you. Remember, I told you, some people won't understand your gift. They're not going to understand your vision. Think of it this way. Whether you wear glasses or not, if I walk up to somebody else and I take their glasses and put them on, everything's going to look blurry. Why do you think that is? That prescription for those glasses are for their vision. If I try to look through their vision, it's going to be blurry to me. So everybody won't see your vision. Everybody won't support your vision. And if they don't support your vision, that's when you need to understand that everybody that starts with you isn't meant to go with you on the ride. You will have to subtract people and things that do not add value to the plan that God has for you. When you start realizing that, you'll start seeing your circle. You'll start seeing your why. And that why is going to help you develop your story. It's going to develop it, it's going to define it, and you're going to start to eventually live in the purpose that God has for you. And then you look, that makes sense. I have a why. I have my family, I have my friends, I have the success I want to leave for the generations behind me. But how is this going to end? And that's where my teacher got me hung up at. For years, how does this end? I was so focused on the end. It got to the point where sometimes I was so focused in the end, I wasn't even living in that now. See, I'm a big sports fan. I know some of you out there like, sports, we just said living on purpose. You don't have to be like LeBron. Like, I get that. I'm just saying I like entertainment as well. I'm saying when you live in your purpose, that doesn't mean don't enjoy life. Go to the movies, read a book, relax, watch sports. Nobody's saying don't do these things. All I'm saying is live in your purpose. But as I was saying, how does it end? I like sports, football and basketball, particularly. I already said that. And in sports, you got 4 quarters in football and basketball. First quarter, everybody comes out pumped up. Second, third quarter, they're kind of just going through the motions. Teams winning, teams losing, people doing their best, making great plays. Then the fourth quarter comes up. And all of a sudden, the team that's losing starts playing the best game of their life. And the team that's winning, it's time to continue to play their game so they don't lose the game. And I always watch sports when it's happening. I'm like, why don't you give that best effort from the beginning? You know why? Because they realize it's getting close to the end. That clock is counting down. So I was like them, running around. When does it end? When does it end? I don't know when it's ending. And I also was not giving my best effort. See, you don't know when it ends. I don't know when it's ending. But at the same time, I can tell you that 9 times out of 10, you're not giving your best effort. Only time I see somebody give their best effort is when they got that bucket list because they know it's about to end. You don't know the day. God even said it. You don't know the day or the hour when he's going to return. You don't know when that clock hits 0 in your life. But I bet you if you knew you had a year left, you'd give a lot more effort than you're doing now. Why? Because you're focused on how it ends. So this is what I'm going to tell you now. The who, what, when, where, why, we're going to throw out the how. We're not going to use that. How's not important. I don't want you focusing on when it ends. I want you focusing on the now. I want you focusing on the now because the now is when you're going to give your greatest energy. You're going to put forth the most effort. I believe now is no opportunity wasted. Every time an opportunity presents itself, you're going to take it because you're developing your story and you're trying to live in your purpose. So you're not going to waste a single opportunity. You're not going to waste a single moment because why? Time is your most precious asset. We already went over this. When will you start? You start now because you don't know what tomorrow has, and we're not going to keep disrespecting God. You start now, no opportunity wasted because you don't know when that clock is going to hit 0. So we're throwing out how, and we're adding now. And the reason I say that, I've lost loved ones, as many of you have, and I've even seen TV shows, movies, and you see somebody on their deathbed. I've never once heard somebody say, I wish I had a better car. I wish I had a bigger house. I wish I had more money. They all say the same thing. I wish I had more time. So are you going to keep wasting your time developing your story? Or are you going to start operating now? And when I say operate now, I don't mean take off full speed ahead. It's not a race. It's a marathon. Remember, your only competition is yourself. And when you're running a marathon, you're not running a race. In a marathon, you're running for time. You're running for time in a marathon. So don't get it twisted. I want you to really understand what I'm saying about time. Because remember, I told you it's your biggest asset. If I ask you at this exact moment, what time was it 24 hours ago? If you're looking at your clock, you're going to say 2:45 for me, Central Standard Time, 3:45 Eastern Standard Time, whatever the time may be. 24 hours ago, the time was exactly the same. 24 hours in the future, guess what? The time's going to be the same. I don't care how you look at it. The way time works does not change. Our misconception of it does. We think we have more time. Like I said, you don't know when that fourth quarter's going to end. Your time is now. Now is the time for you to write your story. Now is the time for you to establish who you are. Now is the time for you to start living in your purpose. Now is the time for you to start. Not tomorrow, not the next day. Now is the time is where you begin. Now is the time you focus on your why to help drive you to that next level of now. You have to start doing that. You have to start selling yourself. You have to start selling your story. I know a couple of years ago, the internet took over by storm by a Turkish chef. They call him Salt Bay. We saw him in the video. He just Salt Bay. Everybody was going crazy. Salt Bay was taking advantage of his time. He was showing. I didn't even know what the man was cooking. But every time I saw this, I was like, I got to go to that restaurant because I told you. And I missed the gym about 37 Mondays in a row. I'm a foodie. So when they said Salt Bay, I'm like, what's he cooking today? I'm all in the screen like, ooh, that looks so good. I was in the screen with you trying to figure out what he was cooking. No different than when I'm in a restaurant. I love me some Mexican food. And I'll be sitting there, I'm looking at the menu. Every time I go in there, like, I got to figure out what I want. And it never fails without failing. The waitress comes by, and it's that hot pan, and it's just sizzling. I don't even know what'll be in the pan half the time. I just hear it. And I'll be like, I want that. Because I hear the sizzle. Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you about defining your story. It's time to start selling yourself. It's time for you to sell the sizzle, not the steak. It's time for you to sell the product of yourself. The Martin Luther Kings, the Mark Zuckerbergs, is selling yourself, defining your story. And don't worry about the time, because your story does not end until that pen leaves the paper. As long as you make sure you're the one telling the story. You are the author of your story. You're the main character of your story. Don't let somebody else write your story. When you start doing that and living in your purpose and your gift and what God gave you for, then and only then will you be able to leave your story for those that are coming behind you, the legacy that you're living behind. Why? Because you chose to divide your story, live in your purpose using the gifts that God gave you. Again, this platform is amazing. I hope that you're getting something out of this and you're learning from others who are telling their stories to help with your story so that you can get to the next level. So again, I would like to thank Dr. Eric Kelly and his mother and everybody on the team that is helping with the Black Business Expo, because without you all, we wouldn't even be able to show the world that genius is coming. So I don't know if Dr. Kelly, if we have anybody that has questions or something like that or whatever, I'm here for them. And I'm here for anybody.
Well, you did a great job, and of course, it's what we expect for all of the the speakers and presenters. I want to thank you for being a part of today's session. We look forward to the great things that you continue to do. And as I say to you, I'll see you on the other side.
Other side.